Soldiers in Ecuador have rescued President Rafael Correa from a police hospital where he was being held by force. The troops opened fire on dissident law enforcement officers. A state of emergency has been declared in the country following police protests against new government austerity measures which would cut their benefits. Officers blocked roads and took control of the capital's airport. At least one person has been killed and dozens injured in the clashes. The president has accused the opposition security forces of a coup attempt. The military declared its loyalty to Correa, but asked for the controversial law that sparked the protests to be reviewed. Eva Golinger, an expert on Latin America, says the uprising may not have been spontaneous. She claims the revolt is strongly backed by business and political elements, both inside and outside Ecuador.
Ecuador has been subject over the past, before Correa won office in 2007, before that, Ecuador had been subject to numerous coups and changes in governments during the 10 years prior. So the law that apparently the police were protesting seems to be just an excuse for some plans that were already underway to execute a coup against Correa. He was re-elected for a second term last year overwhelmingly by a majority of Ecuadorians, and many of his policies have affected, big business interests. It's the same as what happened in Honduras. It's the same as what happened in Venezuela 8 years ago in a coup d'etat against President Chavez. And remember that just last year, President Correa refused to renew a contract for a U.S. military base in Manta, Ecuador. And so his country and his policies and his government have also come into conflict with very powerful U.S. interests. There's a massive U.S. presence, not just military, but more than military, a presence of particularly the U.S. Agency for International Development, which is just everywhere. They have a massive compound in both Quito and Guayaquil, major cities of Ecuador, and some of the groups that have come out calling for the president's resignation are known as groups receiving funding from these U.S. agencies like USAID and the National Endowment for Democracy.